people have this phrase of like something along the lines of find work that you love so much it's like you never work a day in your life or something like this. I forget the exact phrase. For me, nah, man, some of this is going to be work. Like legit, it's going to be work. It's going to be hard. It's going to feel like work. You're not going to want to do it. Period. End of story, in my opinion. However, what I will say is find the things that at the end of the day gave you more energy than they took away. And those are going to be the things that are tied to a sense of purpose for you.
So the question is this: how do thought leaders, school dropouts, former and current students find out what's next after they do or don't cross that stage? If you want to know the secrets to starting the career or business of your dreams, getting paid whatever you desire, and discovering what you do the best with the least amount of effort, then this is the right podcast for you. I'm Shawn Anthony, and this is School's Over. Now What? The podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Shawn Anthony, and foremost, I just want to thank you. Like, you guys could have clicked any button out there. There's over 700,000 podcasts. There's a lot of options, and you chose to listen to us today. So we appreciate you for just tuning in and listening. But I have to let you know exactly what this show is about. Each and every single week, we continue to bring you an inspiring person or a message that's truly going to help you get to the next level in your journey, whether you're an entrepreneur or perhaps you're just chasing the career field, trying to rise in the ladder. And each and every single week, guys, every person that's been on this show has answered the question we all at some point in our lives, I don't care what you got going on, at some point in your life, you're going to ask yourself the question, school's over, now what? And because of you guys, our listeners, this show has done tremendous things. So you know how I like to kick this thing off each and every single week with the review of the week. And this week it comes from Alibaba Peanut, and they wrote, love learning about the guests and their paths in life. Genuinely enjoy the content. Excited to hear the next guest. Overall enjoyable content. Alibaba Peanut, I appreciate you. And guys, right now, if you're listening to this at this very moment, if you've ever gained anything from this show, anything at all, please be sure to scroll to the bottom of your screen. If you're listening right now to iTunes, click that 5-star rating and leave your review. It helps us to continue to flourish, get new guests, and most importantly, show up at the top of the charts on iTunes. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Hey, what's up, fam? You know, building a podcast has been one of the most amazing things I've ever done. It's put me in rooms I could not even believe. But here's the crazy thing. It could be one of the easiest things for you to do. And right now, I want you to have access and learning how you can have your message spread and reach multiple people across the globe. For right now, you can download my free ebook, The Podcast Starter Kit, giving you all the tools you need to start, plan, launch, and grow your podcast today. Just check out the Podcast Starter Kit by clicking the link and downloading your free ebook in the show notes below. This episode is brought to you by patreon.com/schoolsover.nowwhat. For as low as $5, you can help us reach more people, tour schools, and even impact communities. You also get exclusive content that nobody else can see and be able to go possibly one-on-one with some of our most amazing guests. Visit patreon.com/schoolsover.nowwhat and become a Patreon today. Okay, before we get into this, I just want to let you know right now, I am having a masterclass. That's right, a masterclass September 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and you do not want to miss this. I'm going to give you guys all the secrets on how to build a brand with podcasting. And here's what you will learn. You're going to learn how to connect with celebrities, stand out in the market, create a tribe and community. If you're listening right now, this is for you. If you want to start or have a podcast, your own show, or you're wanting to take your brand or business to a new height and you're ready to become that prominent voice in your space and in your field, be sure to check out the show notes right below and click the link, and be sure to register for my new masterclass happening September 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern. The crazy thing is people pay thousands of dollars for this information at our Now What Academy, but you're going to get this information for a fraction of the price. Within the first 5 minutes, you're going to already make back twice that investment. So be sure, click that link below, and I'll see you in class. All right, let's get into the reason you clicked that button. We're back with another banger. This is the one and only Regina Anaejionu. And guys, she's going to bring it. You may have seen her in things like Fast Company, Entrepreneur, or perhaps maybe even Black Enterprise. And she's known for helping you become a full-time author or a teacher, guys, and she's pretty much everywhere. And it's one of the best teachers I've seen that's on social media right now. This is going to be an episode where you're going to really learn and define not only what you do well, but how to reach certain audiences, right? Too many times we are talking and speaking and we don't hit the person we're trying to contact. This is the episode for you. Also, you're going to get tips and tools you'll need to launch any digital course that you can think of. Sit back, grab your pencil, pen, paper, whatever it is for you, however you take notes, and enjoy episode 120 with Regina Anaejionu. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and this is going to be a great episode, very informative, but also one you need to pay close attention to. I'm here with the one and only Regina Anaejionu is on the podcast today. How are you?
Man, I'm so excited. I love what you're doing, so I'm so honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Like everyone always, when they tune into the show, they want to know about people. They want to go back, and they want to go back to like their childhood. Take us back to that young girl growing up. Where are you from?
Man, Austin, Texas, of all cities. I mean, it is one of the more diverse cities in Texas. I guess I have that to be grateful for, open-minded type of city. So I'm definitely very much a Southern girl, little East Coast flavor. But yeah, grew up in Austin, Texas with a very Nigerian father and certain values that we'll get into that helped, spur entrepreneurship, and a wonderful mom, wonderful family.
Oh, that's great. Like what I like about what you're doing, you're always like in teach mode, right? Like and you do it from your captions that you're posting on Instagram, from the courses that you're created, from the things you're doing with Teachable. Like, where did you get that mindset to be, in that mode? And it seems like you're doing it without even trying.
Well, honestly, this really relates to my background. I cannot take any credit for that. Both my mom and dad were college professors. And so, we grew up with this environment of training us how to think critically and ask better questions and communicate ourselves really well, right? And so there was that heavy influence just throughout our whole lives, and it naturally led me to, like, even in elementary school, right? When other friends or students wouldn't understand a concept, we would be on the playground and I would be like, okay, let's break it down like this, kids. Like it just, I don't know, it was just interesting to me to help people understand things and to always be learning myself.
What's crazy that you said that is because I think that's going to be an aha moment for somebody right now that's listening to this. There's something that you were doing as a kid with the least amount of effort that should really be your calling, right? Like how important is it, you would say, for people to identify what they're doing well early?
Man, I mean, of the utmost importance, because what we run the risk of once we get older and we have more responsibilities on us, let's say you are in a relationship, let's say you are just out on your own, right? And you're feeling this weight of at least taking care of yourself, if not other people. What happens is I feel like we start to err towards the side of desperation, if you will, right? Like, just what can I be doing to make the most amount of money, or what, you know what I mean? As opposed to asking, how do I take what I already know and love and just naturally gravitate towards and build out a strong career for myself or a business? And so the earlier on you identify those things and develop those things that just naturally make you happy, the more likely you are to find that opportunity or to create the opportunity, right? To make a living off of it, and then be more available for the people you love, right? Have better energy for the people you love, and be able to support them in their own goals better, right? So it's of the utmost importance, definitely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, right? Because you want to be present in the moment that you're in. I'm always fascinated when people have passions and things that they really like stand behind. And one of the things I noticed with you, and you said this recently, is that your time will be spent on building our wealth and our ownership, right? What did that mean to you when you say such a powerful statement like that? Break it down for our audience. What does that mean for Regina? Like, where is she going to take things?
So to be honest, like you said, there's that desire to kind of be teaching and be sharing. And what I realized is that there are conversations that I could theoretically be getting caught up in, and these conversations were really trying to get people to value Black lives, or to value, women, or whatever it might have been, where they just did not value that. And so it's almost like, okay, you know what? I'm not even going to try to convince you. I shouldn't have to. So instead, let me focus on and only on activities that build the wealth and ownership, of Black people, of people of color, of women who are out here doing things on their own, people who identify as women. And so that, to me, what that looks like is not spending any emotional energy on just not spending any emotional energy on that, and instead spending it all on wealth building. And so that looks like teaching, that looks like, a fund that we're starting that's going to help kind of fund people's business ideas. But along with that fund, we're creating these quote unquote family meetings where people can hear from investment experts and lawyers and stuff like that, who I looked around with my very Nigerian family, and that's just who we have in our family, right? Like, there are lawyers, doctors, nurses, and, CPAs, this, that, the other. And I'm like, I want to create this type of family environment for people who maybe don't have those exact same family, whatever. And so it's like, I want to give money and knowledge and resources, and not just my own money and knowledge and resources, but others. And so I hope that made sense. I'm just kind of rambling because I get excited, but that's where I want to spend my time, and not on anything else.
Yeah, what you're talking about right now is you're really talking about, how do I bring a mentality to my community, to things they may not be exposed to that could change their life if they know it existed. So they're not, victims of not knowing how to handle certain situations. I think that's amazing. And when you launch that and you're ready to, go full force with that, we're going to be sure to support you any way we can, because I think that's a huge, huge key. And I want you to keep that going. So right now, you're known for teaching people how to become teachers, right? At their crafts, and, how to become authors. Somebody listening to this right now, they're struggling with getting their message out to the right audience. How would you say that person, or what would be, some strategies that you can give that person listening right now so that they start narrowing down their focus and reach the people that they want to reach?
Man, great question. I think that we have the internet, the generations before us did not have the internet the way we have the internet, right? And so we have this tool where people already gather and almost kind of self-select, categorize into these social media platforms, and then even into groups within the social media platforms that let us know what their interests are. So if you like Facebook, it's going to be Facebook groups, and it's going to be certain pages that you go to. If you like Instagram, you're going to find certain influencers and publications and brands in areas where the people who are commenting on those pages have certain interests, right? If it's LinkedIn that you really enjoy using, you're going to find communities or influencers there. And so basically, it's a I won't say a game, but I almost wanted to call it a game, but a game of identifying where those people are hanging out, where they're spending their time, and what mode they're in, right? Like, if you're on LinkedIn, you're networking, you're looking for a new job, you're doing this. Is that the mode you want to catch people in? Then go there. If you're on Instagram, you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for memes, you want to joke around with friends, blah, blah, blah. And you want to find some inspirational brands and stuff like that. If you're on Twitter, you're looking for news and just short bursts of like, this is how I'm feeling, right? So finding what mode you want somebody to be in, or what mood, right? And then getting on that platform and then narrowing it down by the groups or people they would be following. And then after that, it is literally just put yourself in a position to be of service. Start tapping on those people's profiles that you see commenting on those different influencers, check out what they're saying. Like, people are giving you a window into like literally who they are, what they think, what they value. Most people have these like open profiles. You don't even have to, like, it's not even behind a paywall or like a whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to request to follow them. They have open profiles where you can read their thoughts and see what they post. And so get into that, and then pick a few images or a few things that they shared recently, like them, and comment, respond to a story, whatever it is, right? Make it more than an emoji, make it more than a few words, and you will find pretty soon that you are in a back and forth conversation with somebody you did not know yesterday. And what are they doing? They're clicking back on your profile. They're trying to see what you're interested in. They're trying to understand what place you may or may not have in their life to help them with their goals. And now all of a sudden they're clicking on the link in your profile and signing up for your email list, or, signing up for a new weekly class that you host where you're teaching something you love, or not even teaching. Maybe you just hold a weekly discussion group or a book club or something where you're not even presenting yourself as the expert yet. You're just creating a community space where people can talk, right? And so, I mean, that's really what I would do, is just like, okay, who in general do you want to be talking to? Okay, great. What social media platforms are they on? These 3 top ones? Okay, great. Well, what mood do you want to catch them in? These 2 moods? Okay, narrow it down. Who would they be following? What groups are they a part of? Et cetera, right? And go from there and create real conversation.
Yeah, I wish I could hit a fire emoji, drop a Funk Master Flex bomb right now, because like, yo, what you just gave them in a breakdown, like I have the Now What Academy where we teach students, how to build a brand. You literally just gave them step 2 in positioning yourself. Identify, find those pages, right? Comment, engage. The problem is it's not that, if you're listening to this right now, it's not that you're not good enough. People just don't know you exist yet. Right?
Correct.
And in order for them to know that you're out there and that you're somebody they need to connect with, it's all about showing up so they can see it. Mm-hmm. That was gold, right? That was pretty much like a masterclass within 1 minute answer. So I appreciate you for just doing that. And because that takes, years of research, right? Like that takes time. You don't just go to sleep and wake up and have an idea like that, right? That takes time, strategy, and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So somebody right now heard you say the word. It is a very popular word. In fact, it's 2 words: email list, right? Mm-hmm. And they're wondering, okay, now she told me how I can attract these people. Now I got them listening. I got Regina on the podcast today. Now let's talk about email list. Like, is there a strategy for people who are struggling right now to just get people to click a sign up button?
Great question. The first thing that I really think about with this is ownership. And so that I just want to kind of take a second to say your email list, I know you've probably heard it, is very important because it's something that you truly own, right? Now, people can obviously unsubscribe at any time, but you own those email addresses. So if you want to be using software like MailChimp one day and the next day you want to, export all of those people and switch over to a software program like ConvertKit or wherever you want to take those email addresses, as long as people subscribed legit and have not unsubscribed, you quote unquote own that data. And that's important. Another thing is if you get people legitimately subscribing, you can take that list of email addresses, upload it to Facebook or some of the other platforms that allow you to run ads. And then you can target people with ads on their favorite platforms, such as Instagram or Facebook, people who already know you and have opted in to hear from you. You can just target those people and say, oh my gosh, just dropped a new ebook on that thing that y'all have been hearing me talk about lately. Or, hey, what do y'all think about this masterclass? I'm going to have this masterclass. It's going to happen this date, 5 weeks in the future. Buy this ticket now. It's $29. It's going to go up to $200. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so that's just ownership is important. But I will always say, as just like an asterisk on that, is have that list in more than one place. So yes, own an email list, but also organize your Instagram contacts, right? Like have your saved folders organized into people that I want to follow up with weekly, people who might be interested in said ebook masterclass, whatever it is, influencers in my space, content, inspiration. Really organize out your Instagram or whatever platform it is that you use and have those contacts in 2 places. because if your email software goes down one day, we need to be able to target them with an ad, or we need to be able to send out DMs, right? Or text messages. It could be WhatsApp, whatever. Saying all of that, building the email list, honestly, is really about an exchange. So it's a value exchange, right? It's a transaction. And so basically, what you're wanting to do is put together what I call a sample. It's a signature sample. It's a free sample most of the time. Some people call it like a lead magnet or an opt-in freebie or a this, that, the other. It doesn't matter what you want to call it. At the end of the day, what is a sample of what you can do for people? And so if you want to be a coach, if you want to be a consultant, a great sample of what you can do for people would be hosting like maybe weekly small intimate group calls where you're teaching on a topic for 15, 20, 30 minutes and then going back and forth and putting people in hot seats and answering questions specific to them, right? Or it could be free one-on-one calls that you offer for a limited time. Your sample can be paid. It could be a paid call that is discounted. Your sample could be a roadmap. Let's say you've identified 8 really important steps to get started in blank, your health journey, your this, your that. Well, put it into a roadmap, make it a PDF, and instead of just calling it this ebook that I just dropped, it is a guidebook. It is an 8-step roadmap. It is a playbook. It is, you know what I'm saying? There's some kind of framing on that, because what you are actually providing the person is this ebook, this masterclass, this class is a sample of the transformation that you can experience if you F with me on a deeper level, right? Yeah. If you now purchase my 6-month coaching, if you now attend my $500 masterclass as opposed to this free group course, that's really kind of what that is. And if you have that value exchange, that proposition of, I'm going to help you do this small thing, which is related to this bigger thing that I'll help you do later. Yep. But I'm really going to give you my all in helping you do this small thing. Then the person goes, here, have my email address. I don't care if you target with me with ads. I'm here for it. I F with you because you gave me this really important thing, So that's kind of how I would go about that.
Hey guys, so let me take a guess. You're enjoying the show. And if that's right, please make sure that you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast right now and tag me at Shawn R. Anthony _. I promise you this is going to help in amazing ways. And while you're at it, hit the 5-star rating and subscribe. With that being said, guys, let's get back to the show. Yo, that's real. I think like right now, one of the major gems you dropped, and if you went through my phone right now, I'm pretty sure yours as well. Yo, there's so many save tabs. There's so many save tabs. All right, what is this? Doop, doop, doop. I think you got to have that desire to realize, okay, this is my tribe, right? It could be a tab called my community, my people, whatever it is. That way you can tap in with them. It could be a tab from maybe an event that you went to. I know I have a tab, whenever someone raves about a course or a class or anything I've ever done, I have a tab for that, so that when you're tapping in, you're showing love, and you're engaging with so many people. So you answer the email list question. You answer, how they can position themselves right now, right? For somebody that's looking for platforms, and I know a platform that you are very big on, and that is making people, whether it's teachable, there's so many different ones, right? There's there's Thinkific, there's a lot. Like, which platforms in the terms of actually putting out a course would Regina recommend?
Great question. I definitely mess with Teachable. I was on their platform since their beginning days, and they have just improved it so much. They put so much into it, and it's really affordable. I really love the platform. That said, though, I'm not a hater. There are some really great tools. You mentioned Thinkific. One thing I really like about Thinkific, y'all, is that they have a plan. I think they have a free plan that allows you to get your payouts immediately, or within like a day or two of somebody paying you for your course. And it allows you to build out kind of like a beautiful sales or multiple beautiful sales pages for your course. And then you can upgrade to their paid plan once you want to start doing things like, I think, introducing coupon codes or this, that, the other, right? But their free plan in and of itself has enough features where if you're about that life, you literally could have an online course on sale tomorrow. Scratch that, later this evening,
Yep.
right? Even if you're listening to this podcast in the evening, later this evening, you could have a course up. And that actually goes with Thinkific, Teachable, Kajabi, Podia, all of them, right? But I will say the ones that I have used most in my life are Teachable and Thinkific.
Yeah, I'm a Thinkific guy. Like, I think, I think
I love them.
that's so simple. I mean, you can get right to it. So this is good. We're giving people valuable information right now. Like if you were to look back in your life, right? You mentioned, your family in the very beginning of this podcast. Like, what would be, who's that person that may, have been such an influence on you that has gotten you to where you are today?
I appreciate both of my parents so much, and hopefully my mom's not listening to this because she will might feel excluded. I love you, Mom. But I will really say on this part, really kind of my dad's drive, so he was born in Nigeria. He came to the States just to go to school, and he worked himself through college. I mean, multiple jobs, all the way through PhD. And I mean, when I was growing up, I thought he was a superhero. I didn't really understand what a PhD was, right? And I knew he had doctor in front of his name, and people would always call him by his first name because people have a hard time pronouncing our Nigerian last name. And so I would just hear them say doctor or all the time in front of his name. And I was just like, oh man, he's a superhero. Whatever that PhD thing is, I want one. I just thought he was a superhero. But the thing is, back when he was in Nigeria, he was hustling. He was out here, like he would, he got a hold of a refrigerator somehow, and he would just literally take water and refrigerate it and then sell cold water, right? Wow. Like he would have like an upcharge for the fact that this water is now cold, right? Or he would weave baskets and sell. So, he just had this like, oh, what are things people need? What makes people's lives easier? Let me figure out a way to like provide service but actually monetize it, because why not? Right. And so then when he got here, he continued with that. And so even though, he's been a college professor for so many years, he's always had stuff on the side. And he always encouraged us to think like that and not be limited by what currently is. So a prime example being, my brother and I and my sister, we were not allowed to complain about stuff without coming up with a solution. So I would come home one day, I'm like, man, these backpack straps, annoy me. Like by the end of the day, it's leaving this imprint or whatever. And I would be like, I hate this backpack. And my dad would be like, okay, we're not going to say that. But first of all, what would you change? How would you change it? What would you do? So I couldn't just complain about something, right? And just lazily push it off on someone else. Like they should have designed this better or whatever, And so anyway, I guess just in thinking like that and just kind of being trained, if you will, to think like that, it really, that really helped me, I guess, always be looking for a solution. And then sometimes you'll land on something and you're like, this is not really a product yet, or it is, but I could do this better, or there are a lot of people doing this, but I still feel like I have a unique spin on this, and you can put it out. And like you're saying, with tools such as Thinkific or Teachable, tools with like MailChimp or ConvertKit, you can get something out in just a moment's time in this day and age. So hopefully that answered the question and I didn't ramble too much.
No, it definitely did. So look, if you were to sum it up, right? Like, what's the biggest advice? Like, or what's the best advice your dad ever gave you?
Definitely, it is to define the problem so well that the answer is inevitable, basically. And, that really, there's some, I think it's like, I don't want to quote this incorrectly, but I do believe like people attribute this to Einstein. It could be somebody else. I'll look it up later. But, people talk about like, if I'm given an hour to solve a problem, I'm going to spend 55 minutes defining the problem and then 5 minutes answering. And so that's kind of what my dad lives by, is just like, let's really figure out if we're asking the right question. Let's refine the question. Let's improve the intelligence of the question. And then we're able to answer. Because if you just start with, how do I make money? Or how can I do this? Or how can I do that? You're going to come up with a million possible solutions and you're going to waste time. So I think that's probably like, man, let's just define it so well, put the constraints on it, put the parameters on it, such that the answer almost becomes a foregone conclusion. You have to, you know what I mean? I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it does, right? Like you want to be able to be so clear on what the issue is that, this is how it can get fixed. Like this is how you resolve it. This is how you move forward. I want to ask you the question that we've asked every single person who's ever hopped on this show, ever jumped on this podcast. And that's if you were that person who maybe just graduated college, or perhaps you didn't even walk across the stage at all, and you were asking yourself the question of the podcast, school's over, now what? What advice would you give?
Honestly, it ties back to what you and I were talking about earlier, is like, find the things that, people have this phrase of like, something along the lines of find work that you love so much, it's like you never work a day in your life, or something like this. I forget the exact phrase. For me, nah, man, some of this is going to be work. Like legit, it's going to be work. It's going to be hard. It's going to feel like work. You're not going to want to do it. Period. End of story, in my opinion. However, what I will say is, find the things that at the end of the day gave you more energy than they took away. And those are going to be the things that are tied to a sense of purpose for you, right? For some people, it might literally be helping people with their health and wellness. You might be a personal trainer who's also into nutrition. And at the end of the day, if you spent, 18 hours that day writing out meal plans for clients and blah, blah, blah. And maybe you weren't charging as much as you should be at first, whatever. You just did the most. But at the end of the day, when those clients receive the meal plans and start getting the wins and the gains and reclaiming their health, you're like, man, the energy I received from helping people was so much more than the 18 hours that I put in. So that is really kind of like, what is that for you? Because there is an answer to that question. As you explore more, go to events, you know what I mean? Try out different online conferences, do the things, honestly, because there will be something that you're like, did I just work a 14-hour day and didn't even feel like, I did. And that's going to be that thing that when it does get hard, because in my opinion, it will, you're still going to be willing to work through it instead of pivot, change directions, new business, new idea, whatever. So that would be what I would say. It just needs to give you more energy than you expect you spend.
Yeah, that's powerful. And it has to be like one of those, like the reward is really you watching other people win. Right? That's what it sounds like. And the reward is you being like, you know what? I might would have done that for free. And finding out a way to put it together where it's packaged and you're paid for it.
Yes.
That's it.
You said it.
So like people want to know, they want to know more about you. They want to know where they can find you. Like they've gotten all this information, all this free game today. Just give everybody your social media platforms and where they can get, more information about you.
Okay. Thank you. Honestly, I stay on Instagram. That is my favorite platform personally to get inspired and to drop little notes or lessons or whatever. So my Instagram is by Regina TV, BY Regina, and then TV. So that's where I am. And then I'm at byregina.com, revamping that website now. So excited to be putting out even more content because that's where it all started. So that's really where you can get in touch.
Yeah, you've been phenomenal. I'm happy to have you on. I know it's going to excite so many people. Thank you for your gems today. And for all of you guys right now that have been listening to us, always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. If you wouldn't mind, would you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast on your phone right now? Upload to your Instagram stories, tag me at Shawn R. Anthony _, and then let me know in that Instagram story what is one thing that you learned. I love hearing from you, my listeners, thought leaders, former or current students all around the world. Let me know, and while you're doing this, go inside the podcast app, subscribe, leave a 5-star review and a 5-star rating. Again, this helps us reach more people. And if you want to be a part of this mission, helping us change the world one person at a time, it makes a massive difference by you leaving a review. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. And remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.